Hello and welcome to part 12 of Every Spirit in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, where we talk about the spirits and their origins. Today we're talking about the spirits from the first half of 1993. As this is one of those years that introduced so many characters, I'ma needs to split it up so I don't, die or something. So, let's begin. General Pepper is General of the Cornerian Defense Force and frequent employer of Team Star Fox. While Pepper was once a close colleague of Andross, his radical experiments led Pepper to banish him, leading Andross to retaliate and invade Corneria with his forces. Pepper would hire the Star Fox team to hunt him down and defeat him, appearing at the start of each area to provide hints, tips, and intel. He returns in Star Fox 64 and adventures in similar functions, but in Star Fox Assault, he's assimilated by the invading Aparoid army, forcing Fox to shoot him down. Miraculously, he survived, but was still deathly ill, with Peppy acting as his successor in Star Fox Command. In Smash Ultimate, Pepper's spirit has you fight against a Red Fox, matching Pepper's red outfit and leadership role. The stage you fight him on is Corneria, his home planet, and the music that plays is the main theme from Star Fox. The rules for the battle will grant him a sudden final smash, in reference to his role of summoning Star Fox to assist in saving the day. This spirit can also be obtained through summoning, using the cores of Roy Campbell and a Labrador Retriever. One's a high-ranking military officer, and the other is a dog. After being attained, Pepper can be equipped as a support-type spirit, since he hires the Star Fox team and plays support to them, and as effect he's back shield equipped, which might be a reference to him calling in Star Fox to help defend Corneria. The R-Wing is a high-tech spacefaring combat vehicle and the premier fighting machine used by Team Star Fox. Developed by Space Dynamics, the R-Wing is equipped with state-of-the-art G-diffuser technology, allowing a top-of-the-line power in anti-grav flight. Beyond their top-notch flight, both in air and in space, there are a series of upgradable laser weapons, smart bombs, and electromagnetic shield to deflect enemy fire after doing an aileron roll. They've been used by the original Star Fox team led by James, then again by his son Fox. They were heavily upgraded by the time of Star Fox Assault, and in Command each member got a unique ship, with Fox getting the R-Wing too. There's also the Wolfen, the jets flown by Starwolf, with tech on par if not superior to the R-Wings. This spirit does not have a spirit battle. Instead, you can only obtain it by purchasing it from Sheldon's Place, a shop that sells various other high-tech vehicular or mechanical spirits. After being bought, it can be equipped as a support-type spirit, since they're the vehicles flown by Star Fox, and their effect is Gravity Change Immunity, referencing their G-diffusers. Slippy is the somewhat clumsy but nonetheless gifted mechanic of the Star Fox team. Slippy is the son of Cornerian defense researcher Beltino Toad and childhood friends with Fox. His gifted intellect and talent with tools led to him being the team's mechanic, performing maintenance and upgrading Team Star Fox's vehicles and weapons. However, his lack of flight experience often leads to him getting chased by enemy bogies, which Fox must gun down. Regardless, his talents have proven quite useful in Smash Bros., as he's the one who apparently designed the blaster and reflectors that Fox and Falco use in combat. In Smash Ultimate, Slippy's spirit has you fight against Greninja and Fox, referencing Slippy and his leader. The stage you fight them on is Frigate Orpheon, referencing the interior of the Great Fox, and the music is Corneria from Star Fox. The conditions for the battle require you to defeat the main fighter to win, referencing Fox protecting Slippy, make it a time battle, referencing Slippy getting chased by enemies, and cause the enemy to avoid conflict, in reference to Slippy often running from a battle. This spirit can also be obtained through summoning, using the cores of Lyn, Winky, and a neutral and support type core. Lyn is a gifted mechanic, and Winky is a frog. Hence, they summon Slippy. After being obtained, he can be equipped as a support-type spirit, since Slippy handles tech support, and his effect is Made of Metal, referencing Slippy being a mechanic. Peppy is the eldest member of Team Star Fox and a friend of Fox's father. He, James, and Pigma made up the original Team Star Fox, being sent to plant Venom to deal with Andross. However, Pigma would betray them, leading to James's death. Peppy was able to escape though, breaking the news to Fox, which is what encouraged him to become a fighter pilot. Peppy would join this new incarnation of the team, first as a pilot, before retiring around the time of Assault, acting more as a strategist. Following Pepper's aporoid assimilation, he'd become the new general of the Cornerian Defense Force in Star Fox Command, calling on Fox to save Corneria, or taking up arms himself, depending on the story path. In Smash Ultimate, Peppy's spirit has you fight against a Bunny, King Dedede, Fox, and Falco, referencing Peppy and his allies. The stage you fight him on is Venom, on board the Great Fox, and the music that plays is the main theme from Star Fox 64. After being defeated, he cannot be equipped and used in battle, but instead will unlock the Dojo Air style, granting spirits higher jumping power in reference to his experience as a fighter pilot. Andross is the main villain of the Star Fox series, and the arch-enemy of Fox McCloud. Andross was once the lead scientist of the Cornerian Defense Force, researching weapons of war. One such experiment destroyed an entire city on Corneria, leading to his banishment to Venom. 5 years later, the original Star Fox team would try and fight Andross, leading to James's death, and many years later he's begun a war against the Lilat system for universal conquest. The new Star Fox, led by James's son, Fox, blasted through everything Andross threw their way, leading to a dramatic final fight on Venom against a giant mechanical head that shot giant mechanical slabs. While he was destroyed, he has also made a few more appearances in future games, showing that not everybody knows to quit when they're ahead. This spirit does not have a spirit battle. Instead, it can only be attained through summoning, using the cores of Porygon and Commander, both of which referencing Andross's polygonal wireframe design in the original Star Fox. After being summoned, he can be equipped as a Grab-type primary spirit, which could be a reference at his attempt at planetary conquest. Mr. Frosty is a large walrus-like monster who appears throughout the Kirby series. Frosty debuted in Kirby's Adventure as one of the new mini-bosses. He's able to breathe ice-cold air, attacking Kirby with ice blocks. He can also swallow him and spit him out as an ice cube, or simply use ice breath to freeze him that way. Naturally, defeating and swallowing him gives Kirby the ice or freeze abilities depending on the game. Since his debut, Frosty has appeared in dozens more Kirby games in the same mini-boss role, with a couple of extra cameos and a variant in Mr. Floaty to boot. In Smash Ultimate, Frosty's spirit is represented by the Ice Climbers, who also attack with ice. The stage you fight him on is Dreamland from the Kirby series, and the music that plays is Ice Cream Island, where Frosty was fought in one of Kirby's Adventures arenas. The rules for the battle will make an ice floor spawn, referencing Frosty's ice attacks, and the conditions will make it a stamina battle, referencing Kirby bosses having health bars, and make the enemy's ice and water attacks have increased power, referencing Frosty's ice attacks. After being defeated, he can be equipped as a support-type spirit, with his effect being Freezy equipped, again referencing Frosty's ice blocks. Bombers are walking bombshells that appear somewhat rarely in the Kirby series. Much like Mario's Bob-Ombs, the bomber is pretty straightforward. They'll march forward and explode if Kirby gets too close. They're also rather clumsy, and if they reach an edge, they'll fall and detonate regardless. Inhaling one will give Kirby the ultra-powerful Crash ability to nuke the entire screen of all enemies and deal massive damage to bosses. Following this debut, they've appeared in several more Kirby games, and even serve as an item in the Kirby Fighters games, much like they do in Smash Ultimate. Also in Smash Ultimate, the Bomber's spirit has you fight against a purple Kirby, a round purplish creature. The stage you fight him on is Dreamland GB from the Kirby series, and the music that plays is Butter Building Brawl, where bombers could be found in the original Kirby's Adventure. The rules and conditions will make bomber items spawn, and make the enemy start the battle with a bomber. After being defeated, he can be equipped as a support-type spirit, with his effect being bomber-equipped. Wheelies are sentient wheel enemies that frequently appear in the Kirby series. In Kirby's Adventure, they appeared as simple tires with eyes on either side of them. Inhaling them gives Kirby the wheel ability, letting him zoom through levels and charge through enemies with no danger to himself. In Kirby Superstar, they returned, with a slightly modified armored look, which has become their standard appearance in most of their games. This game also introduced the Wheelie Rider, letting Kirby ride a wheelie helper to ram enemies without committing to the wheel ability. Dedede also rides a special wheelie rider in Kirby Air Ride, called the Dedede Custom. In Smash Ultimate, the wheelie does not have a spirit battle. Instead, you obtain it through purchasing it from Funky Shack, much like other vehicle-related spirits. After being obtained, it can be equipped as a support-type spirit, possibly referencing the wheelie rider, and its effect is Dash Attack Up, referencing Wheel's main attack of ramming directly into enemies. The Meta Knights are the personal army of Meta Knight, first seen in Kirby's Adventure. This quartet consists of Axe Knight, Mace Knight, Trident Knight, and Javelin Knight. They appeared multiple times as mini-bosses, where Meta Knight sticks them on Kirby to test his skills. As individuals, they're not very strong, but as a team, they can very easily clean Kirby's clock if he's not very careful. Despite their weapons, they also don't provide a weapon if sucked up. Their biggest role after this was Meta Knight's revenge in Kirby Superstar, alongside Sailor D and Captain Vol, and following that, they've made only a couple of additional cameos in later adventures. In Smash Ultimate, the Meta Knights are represented by 4 Meta Knights, referencing each of the 4 Knight enemies. The stage you fight them on is the Halberd, the ship piloted by their leader, and the music is Meta Knight's Revenge, from their most prominent role. The conditions for the battle make it a stamina battle, referencing Kirby bosses' health meters, make reinforcements appear, referencing the Meta Knights spawning in waves, and make the enemies start with killing edges and ore clubs, referencing the various Knight weapons that they use. After being defeated, they can be equipped as an attack-type primary spirit, since they're enemies / mini-bosses, and their effect is Sword Attack Up, since they are all Knights. Rocky is one of the many enemies in the Kirby series, debuting in Kirby Adventure. This guy is one of the more straightforward Kirby characters. He's a rock, and as a rock, he is much tougher and takes a larger beating than other enemies normally need. He's also very heavy, and will not hesitate to flatten Kirby if he gets too close. However, Kirby can suck him up to become Stone Kirby, flattening other enemies in the same way. Not only has Rocky made plenty of appearances through the series, but there have also been numerous similar enemies, such as Blocky, Moundo, and Metalun. In Smash Ultimate, Rocky's spirit is represented by an orange metal Kirby, referencing Rocky's color and durability. Both the stage and music are the Great Cave Offensive from Kirby Superstar, where Rocky makes appearances in. The conditions for the battle make it a timed stamina battle, and make the enemy favor down specials, which for Kirby is his stone ability. After being defeated, he can be equipped as a support-type spirit, possibly referencing his playable roles in Superstar and Star Allies, and his effect is Insta-Drop, referencing Rocky's main attack of just dropping out of the air. Bugsy is a large stag beetle-like creature seen throughout the Kirby series. Bugsy first appeared as a mid-boss in Kirby's Adventure. As a boss, he can grab Kirby and slam him with various wrestler moves. He can also fire off ladybugs, and if Kirby has no ability, these bugs are his only way to fight against Bugsy. Depending on the game, Bugsy can provide either the backdrop or suplex abilities, letting Kirby body slam enemies in a similar manner to Bugsy. After his debut, he returned in Superstar and a handful of spin-offs, before vanishing for a while and returning for Mass Attack and Kirby Star Allies, the latter of which marking his first 3-dimensional appearance. In Smash Ultimate, Bugsy is represented by Ridley, a large flying purple monster. The stage you fight him on is Green Greens from Kirby, and the music that plays is the Forest Nature area from Kirby and the Amazing Mirror. The rules for the battle will make beetle items spawn, referencing Bugsy's beetle-like appearance and tendency to grab Kirby, and the conditions will give the enemy increased attack power, and make the enemy's side special have increased power, which for Ridley, his Space Pirate Rush is a reference to Bugsy's grabbing and slamming attacks. After being defeated, he can be equipped as a support-type spirit, possibly referencing his helper role in Superstar and Star Allies, and his effect is Strong Throw, referencing his various suplex attacks. Bonkers is another mini-boss from the Kirby series, also debuting in Kirby's Adventure. This large gorilla-like monster is pretty easily explained. He has a hammer, and will use it to bash Kirby into the floor. He can also chuck explosive nuts, giving him decent projectile coverage. Before Forgotten Land, Bonkers was the only major enemy to give Kirby the ultra-strong hammer ability, letting him swing a mallet much like Bonkers or even Dedede. Since his debut, he's returned in every game with the hammer ability as the default provider, until Forgotten Land introduced the Mookie. He also got a super variant in Return to Dreamland that provided the Grand Hammer ability. In Smash Ultimate, Bonkers is represented by a purple Donkey Kong, a big purple primate. The stage you fight him on is Congo Jungle, referencing the jungles that apes tend to live in, and the music is the forest stage from the Kirby series. The conditions make the enemy start the battle with a hammer, and make the enemy swing the hammer for a long time, both of which referencing Bonkers' own hammer. After being defeated, he can be equipped as an attack-type primary spirit, referencing his role as a boss and the power of his hammer ability. Mr. Shine and Mr. Bright are a celestial duo who battled Kirby in the Kirby series. They first appear in Kirby's Adventure, acting as the third major boss for the Land of Butter Building. Mr. Shine, the Moon, and Mr. Bright, the Sun, were fought as a tag team, with only one being vulnerable at the time. Whilst one of them was fighting Kirby on the ground, the other could rain death from above, requiring Kirby to keep an eye on both of them as they fought. After their initial defeat, they made only a few physical returns, including Pinball Land, Block Ball, and the Strato Patrol EOS subgame in Mass Attack. Beyond this, the duo have also made multiple cameo appearances as keychains, stickers, and character treats. In Smash Ultimate, Shine and Bright are only obtainable through summoning, using the cores of Baxter and Forthington and Slugger and Green Glove, referencing how all three of them are duos. After being summoned, they can be equipped as a neutral-type primary spirit, with their effect being Fire Attack Up, referencing Mr. Bright's fire attacks. The Star Rod is a mysterious magical scepter and symbol of Dreamland in the Kirby series. Located at the heart of the Fountain of Dreams, the Star Rod grants good dreams to all those in Dreamland. One day, King Dedede broke the Star Rod, and Kirby sets forth on a quest to reunite its fragments. Upon doing so and planting the Star Rod back, it revealed Dedede broke it to steal away the evil Nightmare Wizard, forcing Kirby to take the rebuilt Star Rod and battle Nightmare, restoring peace to the land once more. This and Adventure's remake, Nightmare in Dreamland, were the only major appearances of the Star Rod, but it made plenty of cameo appearances in future games and has been an item in every Smash game. There also exist two other Star Rods seen in Paper Mario and Mario Party 8, but their relationship, if any, is unknown. In Smash Ultimate, the Star Rod is represented by 4 yellow Kirbys, referencing the multiple shards of the Star Rod. The stage you fight them on is the Fountain of Dreams, where the Star Rod was located, and the music that plays is Gourmet Race Melee, the main theme for Fountain of Dreams. The conditions for the battle make the enemy start the battle with a Star Rod. After being defeated, it can be equipped as a support-type spirit, since Kirby wielded it against Nightmare, and its effect is First Strike Advantage, likely referencing the magical, mystical powers that the Star Rod grants its wielder. Nightmare's Power Orb is the first phase form of Nightmare Wizard, the final boss of Kirby's Adventure. Upon release, Nightmare took this form in his initial fight with Kirby. Both fly high up into the sky and begin flinging stars and projectiles at each other, with the Star Rod being the wizard's only weakness. However, Kirby can't fly forever, and he has to destroy Nightmare's orb before he collides with the ground. When he does so, they fly to Popstar's moon to help continue the fight. Beyond this, the Power Orb has also made a few more cameos in games like Triple Deluxe and Strato Patrol EOS. In Smash Ultimate, the Power Orb is represented by a giant purple Kirby, a fellow big purple ball. The stage you fight him on is Fountain of Dreams, where he was sealed, and the music that plays is Versus Marks, the theme for a fellow Kirby final boss. The rules for the battle make assist trophy enemies spawn, specifically Nightmare, and the conditions will make the enemy start the battle with a Star Rod, referencing his star projectiles. After being defeated, Nightmare's Power Orb can be equipped as a grab-type primary spirit, possibly referencing his conquest for the Fountain of Dreams, and while he does not have an effect, he can be enhanced into Nightmare Wizard from Kirby's Adventure. Speaking of... Nightmare Wizard is the embodiment of bad dreams and the true final boss of Kirby's Adventure. Nightmare arrives on Dreamland with the intent to poison the Fountain of Dreams with his nightmares. Dedede, in an attempt to stop him, broke the Star Rod to seal him away, and stop anyone from dreaming. Upon his release, Kirby takes him on with the Star Rod, eventually destroying him for good, and blowing up a good chunk of the moon along with him, about 7 or 8 years before Sonic did, no less. After this, Nightmare has only appeared as cameos or references. However, in Super Kirby Clash, there exists Parallel Nightmare, a similar entity who causes all of the problems that world must deal with. He was also the main villain of Kirby Right Back At Ya, being renamed Enemy in America. Unlike his Power Orb form, Nightmare Wizard does not have a spirit battle. Instead, you can only obtain him by enhancing the Nightmare's Power Orb spirit. After being defeated, he can still be equipped as a Grab-type primary spirit, with his new effect being Jam Final Smash Charge, possibly referencing his power to create nightmares and stunt good dreams. Sukapon is a limbless robot and main character of Joy Mech Fight. Joy Mech Fight was a 1993 2D fighting game featuring various limbless robots battling for supremacy, and was initially only released in Japan. The roster was built by Drs. Emmon and Walnuts, the latter of whom going rogue and reprogramming most of them for evil. Emmon recruited Sukapon, a comedy robot training in Owarai, and converted him into a super fighting robot to save the day. As a fighter, Sukapon is a tricky little android, able to keep foes guessing and lay on the pressure with special moves like Sukapon Roll and Konanerahen. In Smash Ultimate, Sukapon's spirit is represented by a Mii Gunner, dressed in a bear outfit to represent Sukapon's rounded appearance. The stage you fight him on is Coliseum, referencing the Coliseum Arena in Joy Mech Fight, and the music that plays is from Clu Clu Land, a fellow obscure NES game. The rules for the battle will increase his attack power, and make assist trophy enemies spawn, specifically Sukapon, while the conditions will make it a stamina battle, referencing Joy Mech Fight's HP meters. After being defeated, Sukapon can be equipped as a Grab-type primary spirit, referencing the grab and head-tossing moves from Joy Mech Fight, and his effect is Strong Throw, referencing one of his signature moves, Sukapon Toss. Link's Awakening is Link as he appeared in Link's Awakening on the Game Boy, as well as the DX and Switch versions of the same game. After defeating Ganon in Link to the Past, Link sets out on a quest of training to grow stronger. However, a nasty storm tears his ship asunder, and he washes up on Koholint Island. There he meets Marin, an owl who tells him the only way to leave is by waking the Windfish. And the only way to do that is with the instruments of the Sirens, and the only way to obtain those is to explore every nook, cranny, dungeon, and valley on the island, running into many oddly familiar faces in the process. The art for this spirit is pulled specifically from the Switch remake, which used a more toy-esque art style closely resembling the original game's sprite work. In Smash Ultimate, Link is represented by Toon Link, another Link in a bright, toony art style. The stage you fight him on is Tortimer Island, referencing Koholint Island, and the music that plays is Tall Tall Heights from Link's Awakening. The rules for the battle make assist trophy enemies spawn, specifically Chain Chomp, in reference to a domesticated Chain Chomp Link meets on his adventure called Bow Wow. After being defeated, he can be equipped as a neutral-type primary spirit, with his effect being Water Weakness, in reference to the storm that washed Link onto Koholint in the first place. Marin is a kind young girl who lives on Koholint Island in Link's Awakening. Marin was the one who found Link after his shipwreck, and Link initially mistook her for Zelda at first, since they have an uncanny similarity. She's a talented singer and is found for most of the game singing Ballad of the Windfish. However, she also joins Link in several of his adventures, including falling down a well and making some mischief at the game shop. She also confides in Link her desire to sing for people outside of Koholint, wishing she was a seagull so she could fly. Upon waking the Windfish, Koholint vanishes alongside Marin, though it seems she might have gotten her wish in the very end. Marin's spirit as you fight against Zelda and Link, referencing Marin and Link. The stage you fight them on is Tortimer Island, referencing Koholint, and the music that plays is Tall Tall Heights from Link's Awakening. The rules for the battle make a Slumber Floor spawn, referencing the Slumbering Windfish, and the conditions will make it a time battle, possibly referencing the Windfish waking up. After being defeated, Marin can be equipped as a support-type spirit, since she plays a support role, and her effect is Irreversible Controls, referencing how Marin helps guide Link through the island. The Owl is a wise being and guide to Link, during Link's awakening. The owl first appears after Link grabs his sword and shares with him the plight of the Windfish. He appears many more times to restate Link's objective to awaken the Windfish, and then find the instrument of the Sirens to do so. He also comments on the ruins depicting Koholint vanishing with the Windfish's awakening, but still asks Link to trust his feelings. By the end, it's revealed that the owl was part of the slumbering Windfish's spirit and guardian of his dream world, revealing the nightmares that Link has been fighting were likely what kept the fish from awakening. Finally, he bids Link one last goodbye as the Windfish finally awakens and puts this world to rest. In Smash Ultimate, the owl is represented by Falco, a fellow bird. The stage you fight him on is Woohoo Island, specifically the bridge referencing Tall Tall Mountain Range, and the music that plays is the woodlands from The Legend of Zelda Triforce Heroes. The conditions for the battle make only certain Pokemon emerge from Pokeballs, specifically Kyogre, in a reference to the Windfish, and make the enemy fall slowly, referencing how owls can fly. After being defeated, Owl can be equipped as a support-type spirit, since he helps support Link, and his effect is Screen Flip Immunity, possibly referencing his role as guide to Koholint. The Windfish is a massive flying whale with control of the wind and the main plot device of Link's awakening. When Link is washed ashore of Koholint, the owl explains that he can't leave until the Windfish wakes up. However, as Link explores the land, he begins to learn that Koholint may not be what it seems, and that the isle may be destroyed when the Windfish awakens. This ultimately comes to pass, but not out of malice. Turns out Koholint was created by the Windfish's dreams, and infected by nightmares keeping him from awakening. His sleeping form was even responsible for the storm that sent Link to Koholint in the first place. As sad as it may be, though, it is the nature of dreams to end, and Link uses the instruments to wake him up. Link awakens to find himself free from Koholint and drifting in the sea, with the Windfish flying away above him. In Smash Ultimate, the Windfish is represented by a giant Jigglypuff, a big flying creature with sleep-based powers. The stage you fight him on is Temple from Zelda, and the music that plays is Tall Tall Heights from Link's Awakening. The rules for the battle make you flowery and constantly take minor damage, referencing the nightmares attacking Koholint and the Windfish, and make a slumber floor spawn, referencing the Windfish's sleeping. This spirit can also be obtained through purchasing it from Beetle's Tent, like various other creature-based spirits. After being obtained, the Windfish can be equipped as a support-type spirit, with his effect being Special Move Power-Up, possibly referencing his creation of Koholint. And that's all the spirits from the first half of 1993. I certainly hope you enjoyed that delightful walk back, and tune in next time for part 13, where we counter our inevitable bad luck with talk about Mega Man X, Virtua Fighter, Sonic CD, Mario and Wario, and much, much more. See you then!